All right, we're going to take our shot at manifest destiny. Now, a lot of people think they know what manifest destiny means. And throughout scholarship, there are quite a few perspectives that are legitimate that may or may not embody what was meant in 1845 when John O'Sullivan stated that the United States had a manifest destiny to overspread the continent allotted by Providence for the free development of our yearly multiplying millions. Now, the yearly multiplying millions is obviously the immigration that was coming into the country. Now, immigration was different scales, but it was generally voluntary and involuntary, just to make it simple. You have the white Atlantic, which is obviously the Europeans coming, which is primarily the Northern Atlantic, transatlantic movement. Then you have the black Atlantic, which is the slave trade, the Africans that went from the west coast of Africa to Caribbean, South America, and or up to North America. So that's what he's referring to, saying we have so many people coming into the country. We have a manifest destiny, a destiny to manifest, our destiny to bring into fruition this development, this continental development. And a lot of people at that time couldn't fathom. If you think about Europe, it's a bunch of little countries. You know, you got Spain, Scotland, England, France, Italy. They're kind of like New England, where you can drive to these places in a day or two. You know, it's not very far. So to actually have a continental country was a lot to fathom. So the question is, what did manifest destiny mean? And in my class, the professor, who happened to be the author of the reading that we had on manifest destiny, was pointing out that there are many people who feel that manifest destiny obviously is referring to America. Whereas I do feel that it was referring to America, but I interjected that America is synonymous to Anglo-Saxon, European, white people. And in saying that there is a manifest destiny, and when you say something is your destiny, it is generally ordained. It is, and things that are ordained are divine, which means it is God's will that you manifest this development. And if the development is built for white people and by white people, then it is ordained that white people are to develop this land no matter who's on it or whatever reason. Now, that wasn't, it was definitely not my perspective was not a consensus, but it did explain a question that he had, because he felt that the writing, obviously he wrote it, that manifest destiny was an ideal that was relating to America. So what he was trying to process as a historian is, why would an ideal make someone go west? No highways, no food, no grocery store. You don't know if there's animals to get. You don't know if it's land to cultivate. Rain, earthquakes, tornadoes, people defending their property. It was not a simple task. So he was saying, why was that ideal so impactful? And that was where I argued, because the ideal was the person. And it was the country by way of the person. It was the white person by God's divine ordination that it was their destiny to manifest riches. It was beyond I want it. It's there. I just got to go get it. And God is on our side. And that's why they would take this ideal, because the ideal was not about the country. The ideal was about them. So it was also argued, why do most people seem to have a perceived understanding of manifest destiny when it's a relatively fluid concept? Because if you think about it, when they're talking about manifest destiny, and this was brought up in 1845 in a 5-page unsigned essay on the imminent annexation of Texas. I completely lost where I was. If I messed up, don't worry about it. We're going to keep it pushing. I knew where I was. It never said how this manifest destiny was going to come about. It didn't set forth any rules or anything like that, but people still feel that they know what it is and feel it as an important part of American history, even though it really does not describe what it is. I think historically looking back on it, we define what it is by saying this is what they did, so this is what manifest destiny was. But at the point in 1865, they had not taken the land all the way back to California and the rest of the native land west of the Mississippi up to Washington. So why is it people feel that they have an understanding and grasp of manifest destiny? This is what we came up with. Manifest destiny is saying this ordination is there with an implication of the benefactor being superior. Otherwise, why did God ordain it to be your destiny to be the benefactor? And it has maintained because nothing has interrupted that. We have not been conquered as far as the United States. And countries that have been conquered have a different perspective on their history rather than a world power that has not been conquered. Rome was once a great empire. England was once a great empire. But even in victory, I believe it was World War II, England was devastated. Europe was devastated. But when an attack has happened, when you've been, for lack of a better term, put in your place, you can't necessarily take that rhetoric of we're the best, we're the strongest, God is on our side, because you see that we have lost. The United States has not had that. The United States has been allowed to not only spread its manifest destiny from sea to shining sea, but globally, which is going into the CIA and the drug trades around the world, when drugs are generally what finance countries' developing government. Don't forget, the United States was formed on a drug, tobacco.